Um, this is a stellar and most very, very intellectual and very, very talented group of fellows. Brianna, Amin, and Joey Pasawa have worked on a wonderful app called Endeavor. I will let them speak more to you about what Endeavor is and what it does. But this was something that they collaborated both internally within Pursuit with our volunteers manager, Alexis Medina. Woohoo! I hope she's here. And and our instructor, Aleo, to build and more than one volunteer. Initially starting out under the mentorship of Ben Sussman, who also teaches the fellows DSAs, and finally building out and continuing their mentorship opportunity with Dion Ridley, currently VP of Engineering at Spruce. Without further ado, let us hear from Endeavor. Woo!
Ooh, thank you.
All right, I'll stop sharing my screen. Go for it, Endeavor.
Okay, give us a few seconds to set up. Whenever you're ready, Amin.
Yeah, just giving you the John stuff.
I have it.
I think so. Oops. Sorry. Hi, my name is Amin Ben Salem, previously an automation technician, now a full stack web developer, aspiring to land a position in the health tech or tech or ed tech company.
Hi, my name is Brianna Moget. I'm currently a middle school mathematics teacher in a New York City public school, and I'm looking to make the transition to become a software engineer in ed tech.
Hello, I'm Joseph Pasawa. I previously worked in international relations and high fashion photography, but after finishing our 12-month full stack program here, I'm looking forward to taking my software engineering skills to possibly fintech or edtech.
And we are Endeavor.
There are many organizations, profit and nonprofit, that rely on the strength of their volunteer community to accomplish their goals. Because of this, it usually falls upon volunteer managers to handle a daunting task of coordinating with those volunteers while at the same time keeping them up to date and engaged.
With that problem in mind, we created Endeavor, a platform that allows organizations to manage their volunteers and their events seamlessly. So we'll start the demo where Alexis is a volunteer manager at Pursuit.
After logging to her account, she's granted by her dashboard, where she can see today's event and what's planned for the next 2 weeks. She also sees the new volunteers who just signed up for the platform and are waiting to be accepted. So she will accept Joseph and will email Kenneth later on for more details. She also have access to a year breakdown for new volunteers who joined the platform, the hours they spend on volunteering, and the number of events. Pursuit just decided on when 6.2 will have their demo day. So Alexa is gonna create this event by going to the event page and hitting add new event. She has to fill up this form where she has to put the dates, the time, the title description, the location, and the host for the event. She fill up the form and hit submit. The event gets created. She also remembered Dessa, the 6.2 program manager, talking to her about Brianna, who needs a mentor because she just started learning Swift on her own. So she goes to the volunteers page and look for a volunteer who has Swift on their skill. She picked up Christina, and after talking to her, after contacting her to make sure she's okay with this one, she decided to pair her with Brianna. So she go to assignmentee, she looks for Brianna, and she pair her.
Now we're going to transition over to John, a tech lead from Google who's been a volunteer at Pursuit for months now. He can log in on the app. And he's greeted by his own dashboard. He can see his own 2-week glance of any upcoming events he's volunteered for, as well as see the last 3 events that he's volunteered at and a few other pursuit events that are coming up. He can also take a look at his own stats at the bottom, volunteering hours and number of events he's accrued this year. So when he's here, he can check events because he found that he has a week free. Oh, a new event, demo day, huh? Okay. June 30th, 10 to 6, perfect. I can definitely do that. So he can just click here to volunteer for the event, and the request is now pending.
Alexis just received an email, a notification email. She opens the email and sees that John requested to volunteer for the demo day event. She opened the event from here by accessing its link. And she see that John requested to participate in this event. She don't remember him, so she gonna open his profile, read his description, and thinks he's a good fit for the event, so she gonna approve him.
Going back to John, who's just come back from a 2-hour jog, he receives an email in his application. He receives an email notifying him that he was accepted as a volunteer for demo day. So in the email, there's a link he can click to get sent straight to the event page. And now he's given a link to add to his calendar. He clicks it and it connects directly to his Google Calendar, where he can check the details. Oh, sometimes you get that. Stay on page, please. You can check the details, save. So, yeah, all right. So in that short amount of time, Alexis handled daily tasks, including posting an event. John, the volunteer, discovered and volunteered for the event. Alexis confirmed him, and John seamlessly added it to his schedule.
One of the tech milestones we've chosen to highlight is using SendGrid. This came about because we were wondering about how to rapidly notify users of any important changes like volunteer requests, confirmations, and cancellations. Some of the different notification technologies we discussed were Redis, server-sent events, polling, and email. We had to weigh out the number of complexities those would add to our app, along with the pros and cons with our advisor. Ultimately, it was decided to use SendGrid, an email automation API, to deliver timely communication between the organization and its volunteers. This way, we can send emails to the platform's users without having to maintain an email server of our own. As one of our future implementations we would like to do is build additional sides of the platform for other roles in any organization.
We would like also to give the volunteer manager the option to email multiple volunteers at once.
Thirdly, we'd like to allow managers to customize the features specifically for their organization, as well as take control of the app theming and the branding. And lastly, we'd like to add a news blogging feature so that Pursuit or any other organization using our volunteer management app can keep their volunteers up to date and informed.
And that's Endeavor, where in touch and informed volunteers lead to engaged volunteers. Thank you. And we'd now like to open up for questions.
Very impressive indeed. I have a quick question. I guess you are doing all your communication via SendGrid via email. I guess
Yes.
Another possibility, people might be interested in communicating via text messages. Did you consider that?
It was a consideration, but for now we wanted to use SendGrid through email just in case a user is not actually logged into the app. Most users have their emails to their phone, so that would be the easiest way to reach a user based on if an event was requested for the manager or if it was approved for the volunteer. But in the future, we would like to expand our notification reach.
Yeah, we had a very limited amount of time, and we would like to hash out possibly a private messaging feature in the future, like Rana said.
Yeah, to add to that, like sometimes people are working and they're not allowed to use their phones. So we and they're most of the time allowed to use their email. So we thought the best thing to do is the emails.
Where do you save your data? What kind of database do you use?
We used SQL.
But I mean, where is it hosted? What kind of server?
Well, yeah, for the deployed version, we used Heroku.
That's a cloud platform, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's
So
hosting the database. Yeah.
That just comes for free with a container, or you have to load it there?
At the lowest tier, that they do offer a Postgres database feature that we're allowed to tap into, and that's what we use right now. A Postgres database with about 8 tables.
Oh, they limit the number of tables you can use. I didn't know.
No.
Okay.
I think there is a limit of up to 100, but I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
There is a limit to, I think, 10,000 columns.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, thank you, Endeavor. Can we have a round of applause for this wonderful team? Thank you. Very proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our next team, Cover to Cover. Cover to Cover is a team of talented fellows who demonstrated their potential by developing a story app. Cameron, Dante, and Joanne, take it away.
All right, just share my screen. Okay. All right, guys. Hello, everybody. We're happy to present to you our fully deployed full stack capstone project, Cover to Cover. This web app seeks to connect people around the world with the art of storytelling about themselves. My name is Cameron Montague, and I currently work at a charter high school called Democracy Prep Charter High School as an Operations Tech Associate. I'm also a student and full stack web developer, and will be starting a full-time internship with Citibank in the summer.
Hello, my name is Dante Flowers. I'm a computer hardware enthusiast and a web development fellow at Pursuit. I'm looking forward to the start of my future in tech.
And I'm Joanne, and I'm an aspiring full stack web developer.
Okay, talk more about the problem our app seeks to solve.
Okay, so there are about 197 countries in the world, and most of the time we aren't informed or maybe misinformed. And that usually leads to ignorance, preconceived notions, stereotypes, biases, racism, and disconnect. Dante, you want to let them know our solution?
Hello, the solution is Cover to Cover. Ask questions. If users find a story that interests them, they can start a discussion by asking questions. Discuss amongst other users by leaving comments or browsing other user questions. As the owner of the post, select and answer questions that you feel will add more insight to your story. And from that, we can learn from the types of questions being asked from users around the globe and other stories in the site. And now I'd like to introduce you to like to start the demo for our app.
Right, so when a user first visits our site, they're greeted with a couple of options. Here we can see two of the most noteworthy stories that were rated by most pages and most interest from other users that read it and wanted to ask questions. So if we want to actually explore the site a little bit more, we'll just click over here and see the other stories that are available to us throughout the entire site. Let's check out this first story about Neighborhood Kid. We can just hover over it and get a little brief intro into what's going on, just like the other stories. So we'll click on this one and we can see all the information here. So reading through this quick, I can see that this guy right here, he grew up in Ghana and got to see foreigners across the street from him having fun and enjoying. One of those foreigners actually introduced themselves and they had lots of fun. And eventually it led to him getting opportunities in America for different jobs and stuff like that. So I'm curious to see what else happened. He said somewhere that he was a really curious person who asked lots of questions. So I'm going to fill my information in here and send him a little message. All right, so I want to ask him, what made you ask so many questions as a kid? I'll submit that and wait for my response. In the meantime, the person who wrote this story is group 6, and Joanne will show us what happens when you respond to those questions. I'll log in right now. Right, Joanne?
Once you're logged in, you can go down to a post, and let's say you click cultural shock, neighborhood kid.
Or just go check out the story that was questioned just recently.
So you can click, if you want to see what questions were asked, you could click on this little icon and you could choose the question and respond to the question.
All right, I'll respond by saying something like, I was a very curious kid who wanted to know everything.
And if you want to see other questions, you could either go back and forth. And if you want to add a new post, Dante, you want to talk about that?
When users want to add a new post, they can click on this plus sign on their user page. Users are able to create a story using this form. First, they make a title for their story. Then they choose an image to be the face of their story. And from this drop-down menu here, if they choose to, they can select a question to kickstart their story. Right. The text field on the right is where users can type the content of their story. And after that is done, share it for the world to see.
So let's go back real quick to see if that user had their response answered. Go back and explore. As that user, I'm going to see if my response was answered. And yeah, it was. The person responded to me, and he's a very curious guy. Logging back in real quick, we can see that story we just added. Or not, but that's okay. And this is our app. So let's talk a little bit about technical milestones. So for us, Redux was an interesting challenge for us. We had an idea. Well, so basically Redux was basically implementing a very simple idea, but it was very stressful to do so. We used it to keep track of user information and story data throughout all components of the app. The problem was that it required a lot of three-dimensional thinking, and it was pretty difficult to think about it while you're coding it. I also tried to implement a new database, MongoDB, instead of Postgres, but I realized that since the relational tables were really needed for our app, I couldn't go with the fancier looking database.
And something we really had to keep into consideration was the fact that rather than thinking about how we wanted the app to look, we constantly had to think about the user. And we also, for our backend, in order to upload files, we tried to use Malter, but then decided against it.
Right, and the overall question functionality for the app is just the overall logic that our team sat down and discussed, and where I'm happy with the outcome of it.
All right, for future implementations, John, can you speak more about the global pages?
Yeah. So we wanted to add a map, so the users are able to pin your locations and also see other pinned locations. And Dante, you want to talk a little bit about the video post?
I wanted a fully featured post that included video and audio posts, as users would feel more that some stories have more impact if they're either heard or seen.
Right, and I wanted to implement an infinite scrolling feature on the Explore page, so users can get only a portion of all the feed at a time, and then maybe scroll down a little bit further. So we'd like to open up for questions. Thank you for looking at our demo.
Is there any way for the user to get notified when somebody has answered their question or when they have received a question on their post?
At the moment now, there's no way for that to go about, because as a user going onto the website, you don't have to actually log on, but we did enter a little field that stores the information if the user puts their email in there. And hopefully in the future, we'll be able to create something that sends maybe a notification through that email. But right now, since there's no specific user signed in when they ask questions, we felt we left that implementation for a little bit later.
Awesome, thank you, good job.
No, thank you.
How do you store that information? Do you use a cookie, some local storage?
So with Redux, we're actually storing them in little variables, or the state actually. And as the state holds on to it, we can actually take that information and bring it to different parts of the website and bring it back up again. That's also difficult to do that. And we didn't use cookies, but we do have an option through Redux to keep track of the user that's currently signed in through that state.
So at some point when this is in wide use, you will have collected a lot of data, right? A lot of stories. Do you have any future plans for all that data?
So right now, we're using Heroku in order to store it, but and in the future, we're looking into other ways that we could store it. And most of our posts right now are in the back end. We're using SQLs. And then possibly in the future, we could look into other back-end ways to store information.
Right, it would probably look like purchasing more space on Heroku or finding a different web app to store our cloud information. Because right now we're limited to 10,000 tables. So if 1 million users were using our site, that would get filled up in the first hour.
No, I didn't mean in terms of size, right? In terms of the technology. I mean in that, you know, people, there's a lot of information people be revealing, right? So you can mine the data. Do you have any plans to do that?
Ah, yes. There was an idea of us kind to take the stories and use it as a way to like share those information with people who are curious about traveling around different places. If they were curious about a place, they can pull up a story and maybe try to see if they can experience the same things that user experienced. Joanne actually came up with the idea for global travel.
Okay.
Very cool. It seems like you can aggregate the stories and maybe publish little storybooks for people with different interests. So it's really cool.
Thank you. Drop this.
So much cover to cover. Can we give a round of applause to this group? Yay. Don't be shy. Next group, it's my joy to introduce an intelligent and progressive group of fellows, Sergio, Peter, and Owen. These fellows have spent the last 8 to 10 weeks developing a music app called Choral. Choral, please take it away.
Just a quick disclaimer, if you're not a fan of music or like music, then you're not gonna like this. So maybe mute me real quick, or I don't know. So we're Choral, and this is our team. I'm Owen Jones. I worked on the front end.
I'm Sergio Cohen-Salama, and I did the audio processing in the front end.
And I'm Peter Ferentino, and I worked on the back end.
Okay, so at Choral, our mission, we believe every musician should be able to work with anyone, no matter where they live or their situation, because we love music. We think it brings people together from different cultures and affiliations. It has a healing quality, and we can all use a little healing right now, and it's collaborative in nature. That's also kind of the problem, especially when you're trying to make music. It's collaborative, and you need a community to foster creativity usually. And if you have no musicians in your network and you are not going to build it, it could be hard to make music with people you don't know. I'm an introvert myself, so I understand like meeting new people is tough.
So our solution to that problem is Choral. And Choral is a remote musical playground where a user can share sounds that they create. They can collaborate with friends to create songs from the sounds, and they can also browse through the site's feed to find other artists to collaborate with. And now we are going to take you through a walkthrough of Choral. So we're going to log in as user Pete. And you're taken immediately to two feeds. So we have our Explore feed, which we're on now, which is all of the posts that people have been posting to Choral. And then my feed is just the users that you're following. In this user's case, they're only following themselves. So we're going to go to one of our sessions, which are called Reefs. And here we have this Reefs cover artwork. And then we're taken down to the title of the song, the user who created it, and all the information, including the genre, the BPM, the key it was written in, and the chord progression. And then a user has the ability to collaborate directly from their device if they hit record live, or they can upload a file. And when you upload a file, and name it, it goes directly into the pool. And the pool is all of the tracks that have yet to be merged. So we hit play. And at first we will just hear the tracks in the red section, which is our original post and an additional bass. The black and white photos up top, when you click on them, they go into color and they're unmuted. So we have some guitar from Sergio, some horns from Owen. I like these horns, so I'm gonna merge them into my track down here. But I wanna raise the volume on them up just a little bit. So you can fully mix right within the app and move it a little bit over to the right, which allows for panning as well. We're gonna add some of Sergio's guitar and unmute it. And we'll also merge this collab that I just uploaded. We can save the mix, and it'll save all the panning positions as well. And we decide that we want to bounce. Bouncing will allow us to download the session for at least a small amount of time so we can show it to other people. So we'll bounce right here. And it will save as a separate file.
You have to stop to bounce.
It'll save as a separate file when you download it. And it'll be all of the songs and your mix as written. And there's an extra track in here, so we just want to get rid of that because we like it the way it is. And we're going to clear the pool. And then we can now go to our collaborators, which is all of the users we've ever worked with. And we really like the way that Sergio played the guitar. So we're going to click on his page and see what he's working on. Check out his information, see if he's in our area or what other instruments and music he likes. And we're going to follow him. And then we see he has a track here that he's uploaded. So we're going to preview it, see what he's been playing. We decide that we like it, so we're going to upload a file as well. We're going to upload some bass. And when Sergio logs in, it'll appear in his pool as well. Then we can create a new reef where we would name it, and we also have the option to record live directly from the device. And it'll record a user's audio, whether it be on their phone or straight from their computer. And that is Choral. Some of the technical milestones that we had worked on was we really wanted to take it from just being a social media about music into a full digital audio workstation. So we added the ability for the users to mix with volume and panning, as well as direct recording from whatever device the user happens to be logged into Choral from.
Another goal that we had when we kind of designed this app was to make it accessible, simple to use, and cross-platform, which means that you can use it in your cell phone and it would work and it will play. It will also like sync the audio. So that became a hurdle pretty quick, because the technology that we were using for audio processing is the Web Audio API, which is built into the browser, but it's implemented in different ways according to what browser are you using. So a solution for that was to use a library that kind of like standardized and the Web Audio API and like solves all the kind of exceptions that you have. Like, for example, the panning in Safari has to be 3D, and so the same code wouldn't work. So Howler.js was the solution that we found, which is kind of, it's a wrapper for the Web Audio API that provides us cross-platform compatibility, and we're really happy with the result.
Some future implementations we really thought about was peer-to-peer messaging. Since it's collaborative and you have multiple musicians working on one sound, we thought it'd be good to add like chat messaging, maybe something inspired from like Twitter's DMs, or maybe like Facebook's instant messaging would be good. Yeah.
We also wanted to add an interactive clickable drum machine that will allow the user to make music directly from the app, as opposed to solely relying on either recording a microphone or uploading from another digital audio workstation.
And another thing that we really, really want to do, like as soon as possible, actually, is to implement fragment-specific collaboration. Because right now, when you want to collaborate in Choral, you have to start from the beginning of the song. And that's kind of a limit that we don't want users to have. We want users to be able to collaborate from any point of the song, even if they want to collaborate with 5 seconds, which could be, I don't know, a sound, or they want to like collaborate with a solo instead of a whole arrangement for the whole song. That's going to be possible, and that's one of our future implementations.
Okay, thank you for hearing about Choral, and we'll take any questions.
Very cool, guys. Oh, sorry, Jaime, go ahead.
I'm sorry. The record live feature, I'm curious about that one. I've never seen that before in a web app. So.
I didn't understand the question, sorry.
I'm sorry, how does the record live feature work?
Oh, yes. And that's, we're using the Media Recorder API, which is another API that creates a stream and it's listening to the audio that it's coming from your microphone. And yes, and when you hit the button, you enable that. You have to authorize the microphone. And when you hit the button again, it stops recording and it generates the file that's accessible via front end with conditional rendering.
Interesting. And at some point you save that to the backend, I guess?
No, it's never saved to the backend. That's one of the things that we found it convenient, because it means that a user has to make an extra step to upload, so he has to be sure that he likes what he recorded. So we don't have like a flow of mistakes to the backend. Like the user will be required to download what he recorded and upload it.
How does that look in the backend once the user likes it and decides to upload it?
It's the same as if he uploaded directly, like Peter did in the demo. So it's kind of for live recording. It's just a feature that the website gives you to be able, instead of having to use your, I don't know, your voice memo app, you just can do it on the app.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, so this looks like it would be, oh, sorry, somebody else want to go ahead?
No. I had a question earlier, but actually it was related to Hyman's question, which he already asked. But I am curious mostly about, have you guys ever thought about is it possible in your platform for someone to like take someone else's like snippet and recording and kind of like upload it as their own and say that it's theirs?
Peter, you want to take this?
Yeah, so in a future implementation, when a user signs up, they're going to have to agree to like an open source policy for now, until we privatize users, so that all music that's uploaded is open for collaboration and for downloading from others.
No copyrights. I mean,
right.
If you use Choral, you have to kind of be in this kind of, you have to have this belief that you don't own what you create, because everything has been already created.
Right, like in that sense, it would be more on the social media aspect of Choral, which is where anything you write on social media can just be copy and pasted and say that it was like my original post. But from that end, we're allowing the open source of all sounds on the app.
Cool. Thanks, guys. You guys did a really good job.
Sorry, Paul. You put a message on Creative Commons license. Okay, thanks for putting the link. Could we message you more about that to get more information about it? That sounds really interesting.
Sure, happy to talk about it.
All right, thank you.
So the question I had is that your app seems like, since it's manipulating sound, it'd be compute intensive. Have you thought about how you would scale it up if all of a sudden you had 1 million users?
I mean, we want to set a limit well, right now it wasn't necessary, but we want to set a limit of an amount of tracks, a maximum amount of tracks. And we already have a limit of a maximum length, because you can't upload a file that's over 15 megabytes, which will mean roughly 15 minutes in MP3 quality. So that's one of the limits that we need to have. And another limit would be having like a maximum of 12 tracks, merged tracks. So that also will kind of lower the amount of processing that the web audio API will have to do. We're using buffers, so it's kind of everything gets preloaded before it's played. So that's kind of the safest way to do it. But also I'm aware that if you play too many tracks, those buffers kind of start cracking up a little bit. So it's a matter of fine tuning that limit. I think it's about 12 tracks. It would be possible to play without any like unexpected results.
Okay, thank you.
A round of applause for Choral. Yeah. Wait, where's my stuff? There we go. So proud of all of you. Let's move on to our next group, Capture the Commander, composed of two 6.2 fellows, Savita and Jonathan. These excellent fellows have collaborated with tremendous adaptability and resilience in the midst of a global pandemic and transitioning to 100% remote work to create a game app based on logic and luck. Take it away, Savita and Jonathan.
Thank you. Good morning. We are Capture the Commander. I'm Jonathan Fagan. I'm a former mailroom clerk. I'm also an aspiring web and game developer. And my
Savita.
Savita, I think you're in mute.
Sorry about that. My name is Savita Madre. I am currently a customer service representative as well as an aspiring full stack web developer.
The problem is, in the time of social distancing, how do we keep people home and entertained during quarantine? During this global pandemic, health is a major issue, and we would like to keep people home as much as possible and safe while being entertained. So we came up with this solution.
The solution that we came up with is Capture the Commander. It's an online card game that incorporates luck, memory, and a little bit of strategy. Users are able to start a game of Capture the Commander, create a username to play against someone else, They're also able to look up their match history in recent games.
Some of the technical milestones that we had to overcome and also reach was preventing players from making illegal moves according to the game rules.
We had to deal with figuring how to deal the cards, shuffle the cards, and display the cards in a specific formation needed for this particular game.
And also one of the toughest things that we had to accomplish was creating the game logic for evaluating winners and losers of each battle. We will now be able to showcase our demo, and we will hope that you enjoy it.
So this is our landing page. A user is able to log in, sign in, entering his name and the name of a opponent. Here, there are 2 decks of cards that are dealt. The commander is the single card at the top and the bottom. In this case, player 1 would be Jaden, player 2 would be Savita. So player 1 would pick a card from their top row and attack a card from their opponent's bottom row. The card that's the highest value wins. That card gets flipped over and the losing card disappears. The object of the game is to create a path to the commander at the very end and attack the commander, winning the game. A few of the features of this game is you cannot click on any card that you're not supposed to. So you can click around the deck, but you're only able to click on the moves that are legal. So it is a strategy game as well as a memory game, remembering which cards you clicked on to progress through the game. The idea of this game was while everybody is home and together during the quarantine, to be able to just play a card game the way that people would play card games. The ace being the highest card usually wins unless another ace comes along. You probably won't be able to beat that ace. And it looks like Savita might lose. And Jonathan wins this round. You're able to click on recent matches to see the matches that are played and who won the most recent game. And that is our demo of the game. For future implementations, we would like to be able to create a login page and users to create a profile. We would want users to be able to play against another user in a different location. Profiles would be able to display winners and losers, and users would be able to create friend groups to play against.
Thank you, and we open the floor for questions.
Is this a new game that you guys built? Like, is this a game that you created, or does this game actually like exist?
This is a game that we found online. We did not find any other games made, so it's a card game, but it hasn't been turned into a computer game. To my knowledge, this is the first time.
Cool. I have another question. So, is the idea for this to play like a couch co-op, where you play online with other people? So, I could give the site to like my friend and we could play like separate houses.
I'm sorry, Jonathan, go ahead.
At the moment, we were looking into Socket.io, but due to some time restrictions, we left it as a couch co-op game. And hopefully in future implementations, when we're able to invest a little bit more time into the app, we would like to make it an online game where we can play against somebody else in another house while also being able to stay home.
Cool. Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Where did you get the artwork for the cards?
I'm sorry?
The artwork for the cards. Did you design that one or?
No, I found it. I found the picture online.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Capture the Commander. Stellar job. Next up, we have, uh-oh. Un momento, por favor. Next up, we have Pantry. Pantry is composed of Vanille, Michael, and Janesh, who've taken a whole a different route. They've taken a deep dive and explored innovatively new technology to create a mobile app. Take it away, Pantry.
Hello,
Good
everyone.
afternoon, guys. Thank you all for joining us on this wonderful Saturday. We are Pantry, and let us see the team.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vanilla Brown. I'm currently an image control specialist at Nordstrom, and in the future, I would like to be a DevOps engineer.
Hi, my name is Janesh. I'm currently a software developer apprentice at Code Academy, and a fun fact about me is that I want to start my own company in the future.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michael Amparo. I'm an incoming analyst at Citi. I'll be starting this July. I'll be working for the ICG department, and a fun fact about me, I love data, and I want to get into data science.
So now that we've met the team, Michael, would you like to tell us what the problem is?
Glad you asked, Neil. So the problem we're trying to solve is household food waste. It turns out that America wastes roughly 40% of the food it produces, and about 50% of that comes from residential consumers. So some of the reasons why we are wasting food is either because we're overbuying or just poor planning. And food waste puts a strain not only on our environment, but also on our precious wallets. So, yeah.
So Michael, what's the solution?
So the solution is our awesome React Native app called Pantry. When you switch to Pantry, you get the awesome benefits such as a virtual pantry to keep track of your food, a shopping list to keep track of the food you run out of, and the coolest part, you can easily add those items just simply by scanning the barcode. So without further ado, let's have Vanille walk us through one of our exclusive demos.
I've been using Pantry for a week now, and I'm absolutely loving the fact that it allows me to cut down on my food waste, and it's not bad in my pocket either. So I know yesterday I ate a Oreo, so I'm just gonna go into my pantry and see the items that I have. I see here I still have my Oreo in there, and I'm gonna change the quantity. Change the quantity 1. Add. So I'm gonna change the quantity to 1, and then I'm gonna go into my shopping list because I'm pretty sure I added something in there yesterday. And so yes, I see I have my Quaker Oats. I just purchased it just now, so I'm gonna remove it from my shopping list, and then I'm gonna add it to my shopping cart. After scanning the item and hitting the check mark, it now appears in my shopping cart. I know now I could swipe left or right to delete or add it. So I'm just gonna add it to my my pantry, and then check out what quick refresh on my pantry. And now I have my Quaker Oats in my shopping cart, and I'm now gonna turn it over to Michael to speak more further about the app.
So as you all saw, Vanille is loving the app, and we're so happy to save him money and reduce environmental food waste. So now I have Janesh speak on some of the challenges we overcame as we built our awesome app.
Thank you for that, Michael. So first off, I just want to say that some of our, so for our app, we decided to go React Native instead of using Expo because we wanted to be able to leverage all the native functionalities of the device, such as camera. And second up, we're using MLKit for barcode scanning as well as text recognition from Firebase because it had everything we needed and it gave us the ability to have some of the functionalities run straight on the device, so we can have offline capabilities in the future. And third, we're using two different databases. First up is Postgres, and the second one is Firebase, because we saw an opportunity to normalize our database, which allowed us to reduce redundancies in our database, as well as save valuable API calls. And lastly, we had to pivot. A few weeks ago, we had to make the decision to pivot from our original idea and switch from receipt scanning to barcode scanning.
So those are some of the fun challenges we solved as a team. But Janesh, can you tell us or give us a little teaser of what's to come from the future?
Of course, it'd be my pleasure. So some of the cool features we're working on currently is having a central pantry for the household. So just imagine multiple users in one pantry, like let's say your mom, a family of 4 can have the same pantry, and you're all linked to this one pantry. And next up, we are working on receipt scanning. So in the screenshot, you can see that you can take a simple receipt and it will turn it into food items. And this is running natively on your phone, so we're not making any API calls. And lastly, we want to add push notifications to users. So in the screenshot, you can see a simple example. It's just showing that, just saying that the milk you bought Sunday is about to expire, so you know what's about to expire, and yeah, you can keep track of your food. So now I would like to quickly thank our awesome mentor, Mike Boyle, for coming with us on this journey and for all his support. And lastly, my teammates, Mike and Vanille, who were all my day ones, and it's been a great ride that, you know, it doesn't end here, and we're going to continue to work, and we want to get our apps into the App Store as well as the Play Store. So stay tuned for that. And with that being said, I'd like to open up the virtual floor to our judges for a Q&A. Also, you guys can follow our page on LinkedIn. That's the link right there.
I have a question, actually. Sorry, Carlo. I keep interrupting you. So I was at hackathon actually, and they had a very cool, very similar app like this, and they had implemented hardware with AI tracking. But actually, so my question is related to that. Where have you guys seen similar apps like this? And if so, if you're planning to publish this to the App Store, because I've seen similar apps like this too, what would make your app stand out amongst the other apps that do similar things like this?
I can take that. I got it. So I think what will make our app stand out is that we're trying to solve the problem of food waste. I'm not sure what the other companies or apps are trying to solve, but I think we have a great solution. And we came up with this idea because of COVID, quarantine, and you know, we're all home. We're all kind of just overbuying things. Like when toilet paper was running out, you know, it was a problem. So imagine that with food, and you know, people overbuying stuff, and you have like stuff in your fridge just sitting there. So with that problem, I think our app just makes it unique because we're trying to solve a specific problem instead of focusing on just the technologies we're using.
Okay, so I saw you used a machine learning model, and which one did you use, and what did you actually use it for?
No, take it. Go ahead.
Take it from me.
We use Firebase ML Kit. We used it for both the receipt parsing to parse the text and the barcode scanning. We used it in the barcode scanning. We use it to use it on device. So when we take a picture of the barcodes, it parses it gets the string of the barcode, and then we use it against 3 different API calls that we use to generate. First, we check. We have a Firestore storage where if the item was already scanned before, it gets stored in Firestore, and then if it wasn't already scanned, we send it to our API calls, which give us back our food information.
Okay, so you're using the model for image recognition, basically. Is that right?
Yes, we're using, yes.
So Michael, I heard you mention data science, right? Where would, if you could choose some random model, what would you want? What kind of analysis would you want to do on the data you're going to collect? What do you think you'll be able to predict?
So one of the things we were working on was receipt scanning, and using that same ML kit for image recognition and OCR. In the future, we're hoping to develop that a little further to the point where we can kind of collect the data on those receipts and kind of correct it so that the text formats in a way that's readable to computers, as well as in a way that we can manipulate it easier. But yeah, and another thing about the data science aspect of this is consumer habits and consumer behaviors. In the future, we're hoping to use the data that we get on users to learn more about their habits, and using affiliate marketing, perhaps recommend some products to them. And yeah.
Okay, interesting. Well, good to see all you guys, by the way. I remember you guys from the last summer.
Good to see you as
Good
well.
to see you as well.
Yeah, good to see you as well.
In person someday, I hope. Again.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What's that?
I said definitely. Yeah, Carlo, thank you and thank you all for your wonderful questions. This is amazing. Let's move on to the next group. The next group is also an amazing, brilliant, and a very creative team of fellows who have deep dived into tech to create an app, a pantry-based app called Pantry Party. So take it away, Douglas and Suzette.
Thank you.
Ready when you are done.
All set, Suzette? Oh, am I coming through? Can everyone hear me? Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Douglas McCrell.
And I'm Suzette Islam.
And we are Pantry Party. Of course, my name is Douglas McCrell. I am currently employed as a video producer for Pfizer's global security team, and I'm extremely interested in finding employment someday, integrating video into my full stack web development.
And again, my name is Suzette Islam. I have a background in customer service in both the healthcare and the education field, and I aspire to be a software developer for an art tech company. So the problem that we're trying to solve is social distancing and the lack of cooking streams. With people stuck at home, audiences are seeking live streaming content in greater numbers when it comes to cooking related material. Current platforms give users access to go live, but they don't offer tools that would make an instructional cooking show easy and intuitive. And recipe sites and blogs are disconnected from live streaming platforms, so broadcasters would have to provide external resources to their audiences so they can follow along with them as they stream their show.
So what's the solution to that problem? Pantry Party, fresh streams served daily. With Pantry Party, users can gain access to our tools to create and curate their own recipes and share them publicly or keep them private in their own digital cookbook. Users can schedule live stream events in advance so their audiences can stay aware of when their hosts are going live, their favorite hosts. Additionally, by connecting a cookbook recipe to a broadcast, users gain access to on-screen displays of cooking directions that they can control as they present their show live. And if users don't have any recipes of their own, they can host a show using suggested recipes that they can find right on their dashboard. So without further ado, I'd like to present our demo of Pantry Party.
Right. So when Pantry Party loads, you're greeted by our landing page. We're keeping the party theme going on with the confetti, and we have 2 buttons that allow users to log in and sign up. So I'm going to log in as an existing user. When the user logs in, their user dashboard loads, and here you can see 3 sections where they have recipe suggestions for those that don't have any recipes in their cookbook, recipes from their cookbook, and upcoming events. If you click on a recipe in the recipe suggestion, you have a YouTube video that you're able to follow alongside with an ingredients list and directions. So you can have both visual and text for you to follow. When we return back to our user dashboard, we're gonna click this button to view all recipes. Here, the user cookbook loads and you see all of the users' recipes in their cookbook. If a user would like to add a new recipe, they can click this button up here. It redirects them to a form where they're able to add a recipe by inputting the recipe name, directions, including ingredients. If they have more than one, they click the plus button and more rows populate alongside with hashtags. We return back to our dashboard and we see upcoming events. If we view all events, similarly to the cookbook, all events populate on a container page and they're able to start their broadcast from their event card. So I'm going to click the start broadcast button and it'll reroute me to a broadcasting page where I will be able to initiate my broadcast and have users follow the steps to my recipe down below. But rather than starting my own broadcast right now, let's see if there are any streams going on. So we're gonna click the TV button up here. Oh, we see Doug is hosting Taco Time. So let's go and check that out. I'm going to connect.
Hey everybody, welcome to In Pursuit of Good Food. I'm your host, Douglas McCrell, and today we're making tacos. Well, folks, of course, I actually know that our time is limited, so I won't put up for too much of this particular sketch, but I did want to, of course, showcase, oops, looks like I lost my connection, but I was going to showcase that we are live presenting at this time. We have access to a live stream that allows us, with just another click of this button, to showcase that we are streaming live right now on our app. And that's only thanks to being fully deployed with an SSL certificate. So that way we can actually get past the security breaches, the protocols that would block cameras from most devices. So if you'll follow me, I'm gonna actually head back to my Zoom now. You can see me coming into the camera here on Zoom as we continue. So I wanted to showcase quick while we still have this live, is that as you can tell, we stepped into this broadcast live. We're already at step 3. So that way it's always going to stay current with the current step on screen. And if we want to, we can push to the next one, step 4. But say as a presenter, I accidentally hit an extra step, I can always step backwards. I have full control and can go at any time forward and backward within our steps. So that way the audiences can stay on top of exactly where they need to be at all times. So with that, I think we're going to close our demo, head back to our slides, and talk about our tech milestones. Now, obviously, one of the biggest tech milestones we had was trying to hook up this video feed, trying to have live streams and work, and that's all thanks to WebRTC, a set of tools created by Google. We use a stun server to be able to send our ICE credentials through the cloud, so that way users can use RTC peer connection to send their video stream. So the broadcaster can send it out to as many people as they need, and the best part is it's incredibly stable. As you can tell, this is all actually being hosted with the same computer. So that way I don't need to, I've actually got the live stream going on right now. I've got it connected to several times. And although we may not have a turn server just yet, we do have this set up correctly. The heart of WebRTC is beating strong.
Another tech milestone we had was the distribution of data to multiple tables with a single request. So on our recipe form, we gather pertinent information for the recipe, ingredients, and hashtags. The ingredients and hashtags have their own separate tables in our database. So rather than making multiple requests, we use the promise.all method, which handles and fulfills multiple asynchronous tasks and allowed us to distribute all of the data accordingly with one call.
So let's talk about future implementations. Obviously, there was the few that I've brought up already, implementing a turn server, that media server that would help present our stream and make it a little more secure. But we also want to, of course, create an explore page, so that way users can find other users and other recipes a lot easier and be able to follow those as they go along. I'd also like to implement a text chat, so that way users would be able to talk with, so audience members can talk to those who are broadcasting and be a part of the show.
Another implementation we would like to have to our second version of our app is to establish a follower system where users can have a virtual personal connection with others. And we would like users to have the ability to save public recipes to their cookbook so that those recipes populate on their events form where they're able to pick what recipe they would like to use for another stream.
And with that, we'd like to open the floor to any questions that you might have at this time. Thank you all so much. We've been Pantry Party.
Wow. I have a question. How do you guys originate the streams? What app do you use for that?
Actually, this is all taking place directly inside of our own app. There's no, it's all done through Socket.io, and the WebRTC connection is really maintained on our site. So the heavy lifting is actually coming from the local computer itself, the peer server. So that way so after you make the connection through, because NAT servers block IP addresses, a stun server is basically a simple lightweight server, and Google provides a lot of these for free. The stun server just sends the ICE credentials, the public-facing IP address, so that way the two computers can connect, and RTC peer connection is what sends, it's like this long, inscrutable code, but that's the video feed, and that's what's, and once you get a connection, once you hold on to that media stream by making the authorization to use like a web camera or a device camera like an iPad or an iPhone or what have you, that's what allows it to handle that. But pushing forward, I would like to implement, if we had a turn server, we would be able to do things like allowing users to record streams, because that's actually relaying the media itself. And as such, that server can take on the heavy lifting of recording for however long we want to give out access to those to record.
Interesting, thank you. I didn't see an opportunity to start a stream in your app, so that's probably another page, or maybe I missed it. Pretty cool.
Oh, no, I apologize. Yeah, it takes place within the event itself. So you create an event, you attach a recipe to it, and then after you go, that will be listed only to the user itself, the broadcaster. And when the broadcaster clicks on the event, they have the opportunity to go live, to start their broadcast by a click of a button within the broadcast page. Then it will be publicly listed on the streams page, where that way users can just sort of click into a stream and start watching right away.
Very cool stuff. Very cool stuff.
Super cool presentation, guys. Sorry, Dessa. I was actually going to ask, can you talk about one of the technical problems that you had with learning and using WebRTC?
Oh, of course. There are a couple hurdles. Again, I apologize, Suzette, for taking point here. Basically, there are three things that you need to really learn to get this to work right. The first is getting the media stream for your device by using a get media streams. There's a handful of things hurdles you need to get over, and different device requirements. For example, this WebRTC itself does not work across all browsers. This is particularly going to work best on Chrome and in Firefox, but it will not work at all, for example, in Safari. That's a limitation, but there are services that you can buy into, like Vox, or Mux rather, which is the same service, media service that Vimeo uses. But I digress. Basically, so getting the media stream, learning how to use WebSockets to create the handshake to send things in real time. So the event is kickstarted by the broadcaster starting the broadcast and getting their socket ID. That way that we can send that socket ID for the watchers to connect to, so the watchers know where that's happening within our app. Does that hopefully those were the two big keys to getting this down.
Yeah.
Hey, suppose I had a third-party a separate application, and I wanted to access some of the data because you store recipes, obviously, right? How would I do that? How do you expose your data if you do?
Oh, I see. So if you wanted to integrate external
Yeah.
recipes, forgive me.
Just for the sake of argument, let's say I had an app that actually kept track of somebody else's food list, of somebody's food list, and I wanted to use your app so I could correlate the information. How would I do that? Is there a way?
Actually, that wouldn't be too hard. I'm going to let Suzette take point on that, as we're using an outside API for that very reason.
Yeah.
Suzette, could you talk on that?
So what we did with our external API was that we made, excuse me, requests. They provided like random recipes that we were able to use, and with that, they were taking recipes from other people that they had stored in their database, and we were able to implement like those Axios calls to receive at least 4 of those recipes and have them populate on our page.
So with that infrastructure in place, it wouldn't be too much of a hurdle to start incorporating other people's databases. Likewise, with some caveats, obviously, just for the sake of safety. We don't want to have them just uploading whatever they want.
But how do you expose yours? In other words, if the Pantry team wanted some of your data.
Oh, I see. Well, at the moment, it is just available through Axios calls right now. We could just give them access to our API, our internal API. There's nothing securing it at the moment, but it is something we could look into pushing forward.
Okay. Thank you.
Not a problem.
Right. Thank you, Pantry Party. That was so impressive. Next up, we've got Remote Theater. Remote Theater is another app born of global going remote, 100% remote, a day early, and also in the midst of a global pandemic. This wonderful app was created by 3 wonderful fellows, Chuck, Khadijah, and Hugh Paul. Take it away, guys.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our presentation. This is our app, Remote Theater. But before we get into detail, I want the team to talk a little bit about themselves. Me, I'm a freelance graphic designer and now full stack web developer, hoping to take a step into the industry in front-end development.
My name is Chuck. I'm an incoming analyst for Citibank for ICG on institutional clientele. And in my career, I would like to eventually go into data science.
Hi, I'm Khadijah Wilson. I'm currently a secretary at a high school in Brooklyn, and I'm also an inspiring full stack web developer. For this app, we wanted to focus on finding ways to keep people entertained throughout the pandemic. Since the coronavirus has spread throughout the world, people like myself and my team have looked into ways where we can still interact with family and friends in real time, as an alternative for how we used to interact offline. We needed a way to watch content with each other with a more personal touch, where it's not viewer controlled, and the main idea is not that one person is in control of what you get to watch. Remote theater is a replica of a physical movie theater with a twist. We wanted to recreate a theater experience while implementing social distancing. We have created a web app that shows you top-rated movies and suggested movies based on the preferences users choose once they sign up. When choosing a movie, you will also see a small description of what the movie is about before entering a showroom. And then once inside the showroom, we created a chat feature that allows users to interact with one another in real time.
All right, so we're gonna move into the demo right now. And for this demo, we decided to kind of detail like a short walkthrough of the site, detailing user logging in and setting some preferences, as well as a live demo of all 3 of us interacting within a movie theater. So on the landing page, I'm going to click login and enter my credentials, and I log into the site. when you first log into the site, you're greeted by the top 4 rated movies. So here we have Team Con, The Last Starship, Beta Test, and Shelter. And below that, we have the preferences section. Right now it's empty since I'm a new user. So I'm gonna click this to be redirected to the account page where you can select from any of our 9 genres that we have currently. So me, I like action, adventure movies, and sci-fi movies. So when you go back to the main page, you get a list of videos based off of the preferences that you set. So beforehand, me, Chuck, and Khadija, we decided we want to watch a movie, but we couldn't really decide on one. So we're looking at these top movies here. Team Con, it's not open yet, so we can't really watch that one. And these other ones are not open yet either. So the only one that's open is Shelter. So we're going to go into Shelter. We see that it's kind of 74 minutes. Wait, hold on. I see Team Con just opened up. So, okay, I think we're gonna go into this one because this one just started. All right, so when we enter this theater, the page loads up and then you have the chat on the right. As you see, the movie literally just started, so we're right on time. Let me see if my teammates are here. Oh, okay, Chuck is here.
I love it. I love it. It's very hard, you know, when you're there waking up and your body's tired, your body's heat, then you go in the ring and then you.
So all 3 of us are interacting at the same time while watching at the same movie at the exact same time. All right, so I'm going to navigate back to our presentation where Chuck is going to detail our tech milestones.
All right, so thank you for that, Paul. So one of the main opportunities that we wanted users to enjoy on our app was the ability to watch movies together. Netflix, at the time when we were ideating the app, did not have Netflix Party yet, so it was mostly a solo viewing experience. And we wanted to really design a way for users to be able to watch movies at the exact same time, no matter where they are. So we tested a bunch of different ways and different approaches we could use to handle the problem of syncing viewers. We used, at first we tried to use Socket.io in order to build our own server to store all of the movies. And we also tried to use Amazon S3 in order to store the videos on a separate database. However, we found that there were a lot of problems with input lag and buffering. So eventually we settled on a module called Moment, as well as YouTube's API, in order to really API's very comprehensive video network, as well as allowing us to sync all of the movies that we have using on the client side portion of our app with Moment. Moving on, we also had to learn how to navigate difficult documentation when building out a chat functionality. We initially wanted to build our chat app with the similar WebSocket technology, but we found that due to the fact that, especially with the way our app is structured, people who are able to chat with each other, it will mostly be a many-to-many relationship, which would really be really difficult to capture in its entirety. So we eventually decided to use an API called GetStream, which when we finally did learn it, it was very comprehensive, but the learning curve was very steep. There's even a time where we had a bug for about 2 to 3 days where we didn't know how to fix the application. And later on found out that GetStream actually had a free trial, which we weren't aware of, and that's why it was breaking. But throughout this process, we really learned how to, as a group, refine our abilities to research technical things and apply them to our work. Lastly, deciding on a database structure was another big thing that we needed to decide on. Throughout our time at Pursuit, we've really focused mainly on SQL, but we wanted to learn something new for this project, MongoDB. However, after really learning the differences between the two, we settled on SQL because we have a small selection of movies that have very close relationships with each other. And due to the way SQL works with joins, we found that it would be best to really use SQL in order to allow us to create personal homepages for different users based on their preferred movies, which SQL with user joins has and MongoDB does not. But if we do decide to take this app further, we most likely would end up refactoring our database with MongoDB because due to kind of the hierarchical nature of our app, it would allow us to adjust to scale better. So moving on to future implementations, actually at the time of this point, we implemented our private theater feature, which allows users to share a link and host movies for small groups, which just basically means that they would be able to send a link to their friends and join a movie where only the people who have that link will be able to join that movie. But other future implementations that we are thinking about including will be a search feature where users can search for movies based on their name and genre, a rating system that would allow users to adjust the movies that they are presented with in their preferred movies based on whether they liked a particular movie or not. And we also want to add more variety to our app by adding shows and episodes so that there's more of a variety for users to watch. So in conclusion, thank you for listening to our presentation. And thank you for watching our presentation of remote theater, the future of entertainment. And now we'll open this panel to the judges and crowd.
The question. Awesome job, by the way. So you guys ended up using Postgres, and Postgres, does have a rich set of features for optimizing so that you can scale your app appropriately. Did you guys end up integrating any optimization techniques into your Postgres database?
Well, we really didn't implement any specific optimization techniques into our Postgres database, aside from really just designing the app, with the basic features that SQL and Postgres have. But one of the things that we were looking at in terms of the research that we were doing based on our database structures were due to the fact that SQL has, even though SQL has columns, not necessarily just columns, but MongoDB would have offered a better way for us to scale based on the way it handles, like the way we're able to create things in a document-based approach. But I'm sorry, I didn't really answer your question, but yeah, we didn't really use any optimization techniques in terms of our app itself.
Okay, yeah, that answers my question. Thank you.
Great job.
Question about the, oh, sorry, Zane, go ahead.
Oh, no, it's fine. I was just wondering how you guys are streaming the movies.
Oh, that's mainly using the YouTube API. So the YouTube API, it takes in like a URL, and specific to this app, it also can take in the seconds. So based on the start time and what time it is now, using Moment, I can calculate how much seconds that should have passed in the movie based on what time it is, and then that gets inputted into the YouTube API, and then the YouTube API returns a player that jumps forward to the exact time that you put into it.
My question was just part of the app. I saw that there was a button for a private room and a theater. What was the difference between those two? I know you went into the theater in the demo, but what was the idea for the difference between those?
Okay, so for the main theater, when you enter in, any user can enter in that theater. So you'll see messages from anybody that's currently in the theater watching. But for the private room specifically, that link, well, based on how the chat component works, every time you put in a different title, it creates a new chat channel. So by using a set of like random numbers put on the end of the title, we can create like, well, based on the code that we have, we set it to have like 1,000 different rooms. So It's randomly generates a number from 1 to 1,000, and that will kind of identify what the room is. And then with the specific link that's generated, you can share that among your friends, and only the people who have that link will have access to that channel.
Sounds good. Good job, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Remote Theater. A round of applause. Great job, guys. And I'm just gonna put in a plug. I was just able to sign up at pantryparty.com. And I am now officially a user of this app. So I'm gonna encourage all of you to go out there and encounter and utilize these apps that are live.
Yeah, our app is live too.
Yes, Remote Theaters live. All of them should be live, deployed on Heroku, and I'm not sure about Pantry React Native app, but it's live too. So let's get the ball rolling, and please become users of these incredible tools. Last but not least, it is my distinct joy to introduce a team of all Latina women that was intentionally selected to develop an app of this capability and I would like to say execution under the mentorship of both Isabella Montoya, CEO and founder of Paz Lifestyle, a sustainable luxury fashion, and Adam Scrivener, a software engineer at Facebook. These women are truly brilliant and resourceful, and it's my joy and pleasure to present Carrie. Take it away, guys.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone. My name is Aranza Garcia. I currently work as a college assistant at City College, but I'm looking forward to making my transition to tech as a full-stack web developer.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brianni Taveros. I'm a full-stack web developer. I'm also a customer service specialist at Best Buy, and I hope to join a software engineering team at one of my favorite companies.
Hi, everyone. My name is Isabel Sanchez. I'm an incoming analyst at Citi EIONT this summer and an aspiring software engineer.
Hi, my name is Kathy Puma, a full-stack developer looking forward to get into front-end web development.
And this is Carrie.
Recently, we've seen that consumer shopping habits have changed in the sense that most shopping is now done online. But when a customer orders a product online, it could take days to arrive at their doorstep because it's normally being shipped from a warehouse that's far away, even if there's a store near them that has the same item in stock. Whenever a product is needed quickly and the customer is short on time, there are little to no viable options for them to obtain their product in just a few hours. Carry is a three-sided marketplace to achieve same-day delivery within hours of making a purchase, a service tailored to enhance the customer shopping experience, and we hope to become the go-to platform for customers that want their shopping needs fulfilled quickly. Let's suppose a customer needs to do last-minute shopping for her weekend getaway, but doesn't have time amongst all the packing. Quickly, she turns to Carrie.
When landing on Carrie, the first thing she will be asked is if she would like to share her location. This will allow Carrie to determine her latitude and longitude with a geolocation API. Once Carrie has her location available, Carrie is able to suggest stores that are nearby the user. She then has the option to shop by categories or check out the stores that are nearby her. She's heard really great things about Paz Lifestyle, and she's curious if Paz is near her. Turns out it is. She clicks on Paz's logo. Once she clicks on that, it will redirect her to the store's page. On the store page, this is not supposed to be happening, guys.
Sorry, quick troubleshoot. Give me one sec. Aranza, you can go ahead and explain what would happen on the store page.
Sure, on the store page, then the user is able to see the store's information. She'll be able to browse by category, shop by types, and check out the new arrivals that the store contains. It's working out, yay.
So shop by category, shop by type, and check out new arrivals.
Luckily for her, she already knows what she's interested in getting for her getaway trip, and one of the items is a bag. So she decides to browse by categories and clicks on the category accessories. This will then take her to the accessories page where it will display all of the products that Bass contains that are accessories. So she clicks on Milan's leather backpack and a pop-up will appear. It will give her more details in regards to the product and she can choose a size and she adds 2 to her shopping cart. There's also one other product that she's interested in getting for her getaway trip. So she scrolls up and clicks on women's. This will again display all of the women clothing products that Bass Lifestyles contains. She's really interested in getting a dress, so she decides to use the filter bar on the side, clicks on type and selects dresses. This will filter out all the products and display only dresses. So she clicks on Onyx dress. Again, a side pop-up will appear. She selects small and adds just 1 to her bag. And now she's ready to check out.
Once our customer has decided that they are ready to check out, they can proceed to the checkout cart on the upper right-hand corner. When hovering over it, they can see the items that are currently in their cart. And when clicking on it, they are rerouted to a protected route. So we enabled sessions in Carry, which allow us to have anonymous users have access to our application. This will in turn allow them to have more of a potential to browse through our application, so that way they're not really turned off by the whole sign up first thing. So here we're gonna log in with our user, Miss Gigi Hadid. I'm sure you guys have heard of her, maybe. And putting in her password. And once she's signed in, we'll be rerouted to the checkout. Here, as you can see, our inputs are pre-filled. This is because we used Context API and hooks in order to manage our state. When our user logs in, their information is then stored in the state and handed down to these inputs. So that way the pre-filled information can go along for an easier process. As we move along, we verify the payment method and the delivery terms. So based on the amount of time that you want your product delivered in, you can choose either rush delivery, end of day, or next day delivery. This goes hand in hand with our location because again, you only want to order from stores that are nearby you. You don't want to order things from, say, another city or state. So once she's ready, she can go ahead and place that order for her vacation order. And it's now placed and the shopping bag is now empty. Great. So now we can go ahead and also check on if she has a new notification for it. So give me 1 sec. And here she'll be able to see that she received a notification that her order was placed. It has all the products that were ordered, as well as the delivery fee and the total amount. So going back to our technical milestones, we focus on location API, which determined the longitude and latitude of our user, as well as comparing it to our backend stores and filling out the stores that were in their radius. We used a 5-mile radius for this, so generally within the city range. In addition, we use Context API and hooks in order for to handle that state or information being passed down from props, as well as Material UI for the design. Sessions for anonymous users to be able to have access to their checkout cart, and Twilio for that little text message that you saw at the end.
For future implementations, we plan to add complete platforms for carriers and stores which will interact synchronously. We would also like to add a full payment method across all platforms, add notification features for all ends to receive updates, and use Google API to convert store addresses stored in our database into longitude and latitude. Finally, we would also like to expand our platforms to have many store partnerships to reach all types of consumers and increase our market demand. This is Carrie, the lifestyle same-day delivery app that gets you your luxury daily necessities today. Now, we would like to open the floor up for judges Q&A.
Hey, I'm just curious. Like after you place the order, I saw you have the next button. I wonder what happened if you click on that next button. Like,
as of right now, it doesn't have a functionality. What we're planning on doing is once they click on next, it would redirect the customer into their accounts to their profile page where they can view all of their placed orders and see a history of their previous orders and that current order.
Okay, thank you.
How do you calculate the distance between the store and and the customer. I guess the GPS is given by the API, and you store the GPS coordinates of the store, and then do a calculation of distance.
Yes. So with the geolocation API, that allows us to retrieve an object with the latitude and longitude of that user's current device. And what we did then, the difficult part was how do we use those coordinates and implement it with a query? So we decided that we would use a distance formula within the query that would take in the user's coordinates and compare it to each store's coordinates in our database. Those coordinates are manually inputted as of right now. If you like, maybe later I can show you the query exactly on what it looks like, but technically what it's doing is using a distance formula to compute the distance between the user's coordinates and each and every store's coordinates, so that it is within a specific distance of the user.
Are you using a stored procedure for that, or it's just part of the query?
I'm sorry?
Are you using a stored procedure for that, or is that part of the query?
Part of the query.
Okay, cool.
Thank you for the question.
Very cool, very interesting. Very cool.
Thank you.
We have time for one more question from the audience. Judges, okay. Wow. Yes, well done, Carrie, and all of the 6.2 full stack web teams.